Good evening. I'm Mindy Stewart, and this week four's journal, I found an article on the legalinfolawyers.com titled Jury Selection and Voir dire, which means tell the truth. It talks about the purpose of jury selection is to get a fair and impartial journey. The lawyers also try to select jurors who will be receptive to their theory in the case. It talks about that even before the trial begins, a trial is either basically won or lost depending on how this jury is selected. It reminds us that the U.S. Constitution guarantees the right to a jury trial in criminal cases and many types of federal cases. The article also talked about a jury is selected after lawyers and sometimes judges question potential jurors from a group of people called to the court for jury duty, usually by the way of a jury summons, so that's how that process starts, and questioning the process that is called voir dire, which means to speak the truth. The main purpose of voir dire is to pick jurors who can listen impartially to the evidence and reach a verdict that's keeping within the law. However, these experienced attorneys, they know better, and they know they can get more out picking the right people than just knowing if they could tell the truth or not. So attorneys tend to ask questions to get a sense of how a juror will respond to the type of court case it may be, or the evidence that they have, or the arguments that they know will come up in the case, or that might come up, and see how that jury selection might handle that situation. So one part that stood out to me I had it highlighted and I lost my highlight. Is where it talks about prior experiences. So where it talks about many questions that they sometimes will ask could be affect or how the case goes. For example, if a case involves a drunk driving accident, the lawyers will want to know whether the juror potentially has ever had a close relative or friend that has ever been involved in a car accident or had a drinking problem. So they kind of know, basically, if you think about it from the psychology world, they're going to know what their belief system may be due to the experience that they have had. So we call that a cognitive bias. Jurors are asked to potentially share private things for that good reason. Someone's experience could cause them to decide the case just based on experience and not actually the facts. So there we'd be going more off their feelings than facts. But sometimes that can get very easily misconstrued when we're talking about our experiences and maybe some of our own trauma triggers. Another thing they talked about is like how they feel about certain laws. Like if it was going to be maybe it's somebody who shot somebody and they're claiming that it was self-defense, and the defense attorney might try to question the jurors by asking them things like, how do they feel about your right to stand your ground and possess firearms, just to get the idea like how they're going to handle that situation, to know if that could benefit them and in their choices. And then it talks about the attorneys have to be selective about who they get rid of with preemptory challenges. Unlike challenges for cause, which are unlimited, each side gets only a set number of these preemptory challenges, and they often tend to run out of them before eliminating all the jurors that they don't want. So that process of just screening and getting down to those ones that maybe don't have that cognitive bias, or maybe they want them to have that cognitive bias of the situation, because it would benefit in their for their client or their prosecution. And then it closed by saying, there is no right answers to voir dire questions. The only thing the court and attorneys are interested in is the truth. But it's good to know the whole background story from their perspective when you're picking people that's going to possibly change somebody else's life when lives are involved. So thank you for your time, and I hope you have a blessed evening. I will post where I found this article in here as well when I upload my video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.